Sense organs. Meaning. Sense organs are specialized organs in the body that receive stimuli, such as light, sound, touch, taste, and smell, from the external environment and transmit sensory information to the brain for processing and interpretation. Some examples of sense organs include the eyes, ears, skin, tongue, and nose. Intensity of sensation. Intensity of sensation refers to the strength or magnitude of a sensory experience. It can vary depending on the nature or source of the stimulus, as well as the sensitivity of the sense organ receiving the stimuli. In general, the intensity of a sensation can be measured in terms of the physical characteristics of the stimulus, such as the amplitude of a sound wave, the brightness or intensity of light, or the pressure or temperature of a touch. The perceived intensity of a sensation can also be influenced by factors such as attention, expectation, and emotional state. The sensory receptors. Sensory receptors are specialized cells or structures in the body that are responsible for detecting and converting different forms of physical or chemical stimuli from the environment into electrical signals that can be transmitted to the brain or nervous system for processing and interpretation. The different types of sensory receptors include photoreceptors in the eyes that respond to light, mechanoreceptors in the skin that respond to touch, pressure, or vibration, chemoreceptors in the nose and tongue that respond to different smells and tastes, and so on. These receptors are specialized to respond to specific stimuli and are located throughout the body, allowing us to perceive and interact with our environment in a variety of ways. Types of receptors. A. Interoreceptors. B. Exteroreceptors. Yes, there are two main types of receptors based on the location of their stimuli detection. A. Interoceptors. These are receptors that detect stimuli coming from inside the body, from organs and tissues like stomach, bladder, and muscles. They can detect changes such as pressure, pain, and tension. They play a role in regulating processes like heart rate, breathing, and digestion. B. Exteroceptors. These receptors detect stimuli from the external environment like light, sound, temperature, and pressure. They are found in the skin, eyes, ears, nose, and tongue. They allow us to perceive the world around us and respond to stimuli such as sounds, smells, taste, and touch. There is also another type of receptor called proprioceptors that detect position and movement of the body parts. These receptors provide information about the body's position and orientation in space and are located in the muscles and joints. Kinds of receptor cells. There are different kinds of receptor cells, each specialized in detecting specific types of stimuli. Here are some examples of receptor cells based on their function. 1. Photoreceptor cells, found in the retina of the eye. They detect light and allow us to see. 2. Hair cells, found in the ear. They detect sound waves and help us to hear. 3. Chemoreceptor cells, found in the nose and tongue. They detect chemicals and allow us to smell and taste. 4. Mechanoreceptor cells, found in the skin, muscles, and joints. They detect pressure, vibration, touch, stretch, and changes in body position. 5. Pain receptor cells, found in various tissues including the skin, muscles, and organs. They detect pain and tissue damage. These receptor cells convert the stimuli into electrical signals which are transmitted to the brain for processing and interpretation. The mammalian eye. The mammalian eye is a complex organ that allows us to sense and perceive light, shapes, colors, and movement. Here are some of its key components. 1. Cornea, a clear layer that helps to focus light onto the lens. 2. Iris, the colored part of the eye that regulates the amount of light that enters the eye. 3. Pupil, the black hole at the center of the iris that allows light to enter the eye. 4. Lens, a clear structure that focuses light onto the retina. 5. Retina, a layer of specialized cells at the back of the eye that contains photoreceptor cells, rods and cones, that detect light and transmit signals to the brain via the optic nerve. 6. Optic nerve, a cable-like structure that carries visual information from the retina to the brain. 7. Sclera, the white part of the eyeball that provides structure and protection to the eye. The visual process begins with light entering the eye and being focused onto the retina by the cornea and lens. The photoreceptor cells in the retina convert the light into electrical signals that are sent to the brain via the optic nerve. The brain then processes and interprets the visual information, allowing us to see and perceive our environment. Functions and adaptation of parts of the eye. Here are some functions and adaptations of the different parts of the mammalian eye. 1. Cornea, protects the front of the eye and helps focus incoming light onto the retina. 2. Iris, regulates the amount of light entering the eye by adjusting the size of the pupil. This helps protect the retina from damage due to too much light exposure. 3. Pupil aids in regulating the amount of light that enters the eye in response to changes in lighting conditions. The pupil dilates under low light conditions, allowing more light to enter, and contracts in bright light to protect the retina. 4. Lens fine-tunes the focus of incoming light by changing shape. It provides flexibility for near and far vision through a process called accommodation. 5. Retina contains photoreceptor cells, rods, and cones that detect light and transmit information to the brain. Rods are more sensitive to light and are specialized for vision in low light conditions, while cones are responsible for color vision and high visual acuity. 6. Optic nerve transmits visual information from the retina to the brain, where it is processed and interpreted. 7. Sclera provides a protective, tough structure that is crucial when there is an impact on the eye. Adaptations of eye parts vary between mammals, enabling them to survive and thrive in different environments. For example, in nocturnal animals such as cats, foxes and bats, increase in the size of the pupils and lengthening of the eye enables them to capture more light in low light conditions. Moreover, aquatic mammals such as whales and dolphins have developed adaptations, such as flattened corneas and larger lenses, that allow for improved underwater vision. Adaptations of the parts of human eye. The human eye has several adaptations that have evolved to aid in our survival and visual abilities in different environments. 1. Sclera, the white part of the eye, provides support and protection for the internal structures of the eye. 2. Cornea aids in focusing incoming light and is avascular, has no blood vessels, enabling it to remain transparent and allow for clear vision. 3. Iris controls the size of the pupil, allowing for regulation of the amount of light entering the eye. 4. Lens changes shape to adjust the focal length and refract light, an adaptation that allows for focused vision at different distances. 5. Retina contains specialized photoreceptor cells, rods and cones, that translate light into neural signals for processing by the brain. 6. Fovea centralis, a small, specialized area in the retina where visual acuity is highest due to a high concentration of cones. 7. Optic nerve transmits visual information from the retina to the brain for processing and interpretation. Overall, the adaptations in the human eye enable us to perceive a wide range of colors and details, focus on objects at different distances, and adjust to changes in lighting conditions. A cross-section of the eye. A cross-section of the eye would show the different layers and structures that make up the eye, including 1. Sclera, the tough outer layer of the eye that maintains its shape and protects internal structures. 2. Cornea, the clear, dome-shaped layer that covers the front of the eye and plays a crucial role in focusing light. 3. Iris, the colored part of the eye that controls the size of the pupil and regulates the amount of light that enters the eye. 4. Pupil, the opening in the center of the iris that allows light to enter the eye. 5. Lens, a clear, flexible structure that helps bend light to focus it onto the retina. 6. Ciliary muscles, muscles that control the shape of the lens and enable the eye to focus on objects at different distances. 7. Retina, a layer of light-sensitive cells at the back of the eye that contains photoreceptor cells, rods, and cones, which detect and transmit visual information to the brain via the optic nerve. 8. Optic nerve, a bundle of nerve fibers that carries visual information from the eye to the brain. 9. Choroid, a layer of blood vessels that supply the retina with oxygen and nutrients. 10. Vitreous humor, a clear, gel-like substance that fills the space between the lens and the retina, helping to maintain the eye's shape and allowing light to pass through. Overall, a cross-section of the eye provides a detailed look at the different layers and structures that enable us to see the world around us. Mechanism of image formation in the human eye. The human eye forms images through a process called refraction, which occurs when light passes through different media of varying densities, such as air and the cornea or lens. The process can be described as follows. 1. Light enters the eye through the cornea, a curved, transparent layer of tissue covering the front of the eye. 2. The cornea bends, refracts, the light inward, assisting in focusing the light onto the back surface of the eye. 3. The iris, which controls the size of the pupil, determines how much light enters the eye. 4. The now concentrated light passes through the lens, an elastic, disc-shaped structure located behind the iris. 5. The shape of the lens changes to adjust the focus of the incoming light onto the retina, which is the light-sensitive lining at the back of the eye. 6. The retina contains photoreceptor cells called rods and cones that convert light signals into electrical signals. 7. The electrical signals are transmitted via the optic nerve to the brain, which assembles the electrical signals into the visual image that we perceive. The brain processes information from both eyes to create a single, three-dimensional image. This process of image formation is ongoing, with the eyes constantly adjusting and refocusing to keep objects in focus as they move and our viewing distance changes. Accommodation of the human eye. Accommodation of the human eye is the process by which the eye adjusts its focus to see objects at different distances. The ability to accommodate is due to the flexibility of the eye's lens. The process can be described as follows. 1. When we look at a distant object, the ciliary muscles in the eye relax, which causes the lens to become flatter. 2. A flatter lens changes the angle of incoming light, which helps to focus it properly on the retina at the back of the eye. 3. When we look at a nearby object, the ciliary muscles contract, causing the lens to become thicker and more curved. 4. A thicker, more curved lens bends the incoming light more sharply, assisting in focusing it on the retina. 5. This adjustment in the shape of the lens changes the refractive power of the eye, allowing us to see objects at different distances clearly. The process of accommodation is an automatic reflex, controlled by the muscles and neural pathways of the eye, and it's vital for our visual perception of the environment around us. The inability to accommodate sufficiently causes a refractive error and blurry vision, most commonly corrected with glasses or contact lenses or laser surgery. The role of iris in controlling the amount of light entering the eye. The iris is a thin, circular membrane located behind the cornea and in front of the lens of the eye. It consists of the muscles and pigments that give our eyes their characteristic color. The iris plays a critical role in regulating the amount of light that enters the eye by changing the size of the pupil, the circular opening in the center of the iris. The pupil regulates the amount of light that enters the eye, and it can change its size in response to variations in the level of light in the environment, allowing us to see clearly in both bright and dim light conditions. The muscles in the iris, called pupillary muscles, contract or relax to control the size of the pupil. The constriction of the pupil, also known as miosis, limits the amount of light that enters the eye in bright light conditions. This contraction of the iris muscles makes the pupil smaller, allowing less light in, and helping to protect delicate photoreceptor cells from damage due to excessive light intensity. In contrast, dilation of the pupil, or mydriasis, enlarges the pupil in dim light conditions, allowing more light to enter the eye and improving our ability to see in low light environments. In summary, the iris plays an important role in controlling the amount of light that enters the eye by changing the size of the pupil through the contraction or relaxation of the pupillary muscles, which is crucial for maintaining visual comfort and avoiding visual harm. Defects of the mammalian eye and their corrections. There are several common defects of the mammalian eye, including myopia nearsightedness, hyperopia farsightedness, astigmatism, and presbyopia, age-related farsightedness. Here are the corrections for each of these defects. 1. Myopia. A person with myopia can see nearby objects clearly but has difficulty seeing objects at a distance. Glasses and contact lenses are the most common treatments for myopia. These corrective lenses feature a concave lens that reduces the light entering the eye, bringing the image back to focus on the retina. 2. Hyperopia. Hyperopia is the opposite of myopia, where a person has difficulty seeing objects up close but can see distant objects clearly. Glasses or contact lenses with a convex lens are used to correct hyperopia. These lenses bend light to focus it closer to the eye and help bring the object into clear focus. 3. Astigmatism. Astigmatism is an irregular curvature of the cornea or lens, which causes blurry or distorted vision at any distance. Corrective lenses, such as glasses, contact lenses or surgeries such as LASIK or PRK can help to compensate for the irregular curvature and improve vision. 4. Presbyopia. Presbyopia is an age-related condition and is a kind of farsightedness that occurs as the crystalline lens in the eye hardens over time. People with presbyopia develop difficulty seeing objects up close. Bifocals, multifocal contact lenses or progressive addition lenses feature multiple prescriptions to correct vision at different distances. In conclusion, these are the common defects of the mammalian eye along with their corrections. Regular eye checkups with a professional eye doctor can help detect these defects early so that appropriate correctional measures can be taken. The mammalian ear. The mammalian ear is a complex organ responsible for hearing and maintaining the body's equilibrium or balance. The mammalian ear consists of three main parts: the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. 1. Outer ear. The outer ear consists of the pinna, which is the visible part of the ear that we see on the side of our head. The pinna helps to collect sound waves and direct them into the ear canal, which is a narrow, tube-like structure that ends at the eardrum. 2. Middle ear. The middle ear starts from the eardrum and includes three tiny bones known as ossicles, the malleus, incus, and stapes. These bones are connected to the eardrum on one end and the inner ear on the other end. When the sound vibrations reach the eardrum, it vibrates, causing the ossicles to vibrate as well. These vibrations amplify the sound and transmit it into the inner ear. 3. Inner ear. The inner ear consists of the cochlea, vestibular system, and auditory nerve. The cochlea is a snail-shaped structure filled with fluid and sensitive hair cells that convert sound vibrations into electrical signals. The vestibular system consists of 3 semicircular canals and is responsible for sensing head movement and maintaining balance. The auditory nerve carries electrical signals generated by the hair cells in the cochlea to the brain where they are interpreted as sound. Overall, the mammalian ear is a complex system that allows us to hear and maintain our balance. Any damage or dysfunction to any part of this system can lead to hearing loss, vertigo or dizziness, and other balance disorders. The outer ear. The outer ear is the external part of the mammalian ear that is visible on the side of the head. It consists of the pinna, ear canal, and earwax. 1. Pinna. The pinna is the part of the outer ear that is visible on the side of the head. It is made of cartilage and covered by skin. The shape of the pinna varies widely among different mammals and helps to collect sound waves and direct them into the ear canal. 2. Ear canal. The ear canal is a narrow, tube-like structure that connects the outer ear to the eardrum. It is lined with tiny hairs and glands that produce earwax to protect the ear from dust, dirt, and bacteria. 3. Earwax. Earwax, also known as cerumen, is a waxy substance produced by glands in the ear canal. It helps to lubricate the ear canal and trap dirt and bacteria before they can reach the eardrum. The outer ear plays an important role in collecting sound waves and protecting the ear from possible damage. It helps to funnel the sound waves into the ear canal and amplify them, making it easier for the middle and inner ear to detect and process them. B. The middle ear. The middle ear is a small, air-filled cavity inside the temporal bone of the skull. It plays an important role in transmitting sound waves from the outer ear to the inner ear. 1. Eardrum. The eardrum, or tympanic membrane, is a thin, circular membrane located at the end of the ear canal. When sound waves enter the ear canal, they cause the eardrum to vibrate. 2. Ossicles. The middle ear contains 3 tiny bones known as ossicles: the malleus, hammer, incus, anvil, and stapes stirrup. These bones are attached to the eardrum on one end and the inner ear on the other end. When the eardrum vibrates, it causes the ossicles to vibrate as well, amplifying the sound and transmitting it to the inner ear. 3. Eustachian tube. The eustachian tube is a narrow tube that connects the middle ear to the back of the throat. It helps to equalize the pressure between the middle ear and the outside environment, preventing damage to the eardrum. The middle ear is an important part of the auditory system, responsible for amplifying sound waves and transmitting them to the inner ear. Any disruption to the middle ear, such as fluid buildup or damage to the eardrum or ossicles, can lead to hearing loss and other auditory disorders. C. The inner ear. The inner ear is the part of the ear that contains the sensory organs responsible for hearing and balance. 1. Cochlea. The cochlea is a spiral-shaped organ located in the inner ear that is responsible for detecting sound waves and converting them into neural signals that can be interpreted by the brain. It contains thousands of hair cells that are stimulated by the vibrations of the middle ear ossicles. 2. Vestibular system. The vestibular system is a collection of structures in the inner ear that are responsible for the sense of balance and spatial orientation. It includes the semicircular canals, which detect rotational movement of the head, and the utricle and saccule, which detect linear acceleration and changes in head position. 3. Auditory nerve. The auditory nerve is a bundle of nerve fibers that carries neural signals from the cochlea to the brainstem, where they are processed and interpreted as sound. The inner ear is a complex and delicate structure that plays a crucial role in hearing and balance. Disorders of the inner ear can result in hearing loss, vertigo, and other balance problems. The semicircular canals embody the body balance. The semicircular canals are 3 fluid-filled tubes located in the inner ear that are responsible for detecting rotational movement of the head and body, which is important for maintaining balance. Each semicircular canal is oriented at a different angle, allowing it to detect movement in a different plane. When the head rotates, the fluid inside the canals moves in the opposite direction, which causes hair cells located inside the canals to bend and generate signals to the brain. The brain uses these signals to determine the direction and speed of the head movement, which is important for maintaining balance and coordinating eye movements. The semicircular canals are just one part of the vestibular system, which includes other structures in the inner ear that detect linear acceleration, changes in head position, and other cues related to balance and spatial orientation. Disorders of the vestibular system, such as benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, BPPV, or Meniere's disease, can result in vertigo, dizziness, and other balance problems. Mechanism of hearing. The mechanism of hearing begins when sound waves enter the outer ear and travel down the ear canal until they reach the eardrum, causing it to vibrate. The vibrations of the eardrum are then transferred to the tiny bones in the middle ear, the malleus, incus, and stapes, which amplify the vibrations and transmit them to the inner ear. In the inner ear, the vibrations are converted into neural signals by hair cells located in the cochlea, a spiral-shaped organ filled with fluid. The hair cells are stimulated by the movement of a membrane called the basilar membrane in response to the vibrations. The hair cells then convert this mechanical force into electrical signals that travel via the auditory nerve to the brainstem and then to the auditory cortex in the brain for processing. The auditory cortex analyzes the signals and interprets them as sound. The brain recognizes various characteristics of sound, such as loudness, pitch, and temporal patterns, allowing humans to distinguish between different types of sounds. The entire process of hearing is complex and delicate, involving coordination between the three parts of the ear and the neural pathways to the brain. Any disruption to the system, such as damage to the eardrum or hair cells, can lead to hearing loss or other auditory disorders. Qualities of sound. 1. Loudness. 2. Pitch. Yes, those are two qualities of sound. 1. Loudness refers to the perceived strength or intensity of sound, typically measured in decibels dB. Greater intensity of sound waves produce a louder sound. 2. Pitch refers to the perceived highness or lowness of a sound, and is determined by the frequency of the sound waves. Higher frequency sound waves produce a higher pitched sound, while lower frequency sound waves produce a lower pitched sound. Sound localization. Sound localization refers to the ability of the brain to determine the location or direction of a sound source in space. It is an important aspect of auditory perception that helps organisms to navigate their environment and to detect and respond to potential threats. Sound localization is based on several cues, including interaural time differences (ITD) and interaural level differences (ILD). ITDs are differences in the arrival time of a sound wave at the two ears, with the brain using this information to determine the location of the sound source in the horizontal plane. ILDs are differences in the intensity of a sound wave at the two ears, with the brain using this information to determine the location of the sound source in the vertical plane. In addition to these cues, other factors such as the reflection of sound waves off various surfaces in the environment, the frequency and amplitude of the sound, and the shape and orientation of the ears can also affect sound localization. Overall, the mechanisms underlying sound localization are complex and involve the integration of multiple cues to determine the position of a sound source in space. The tongue. The tongue is a muscular organ located in the mouth, and it plays important roles in speech, taste, and chewing food. Some key facts about the tongue are: 1. It is covered with papillae that contain taste buds which help to detect different tastes such as sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. 2. The tongue is important for speech because it can move around to create different sounds, and it works in coordination with other parts of the mouth and throat to form words and sentences. 3. The tongue is also involved in chewing food and moving it around in the mouth to facilitate swallowing. 4. The tongue receives sensory input from various nerves, including the trigeminal nerve and the glossopharyngeal nerve, which play important roles in the sensation of touch and temperature. 5. The various muscles of the tongue work together to move it around, and these muscles are controlled by different nerves, including the hypoglossal nerve. Overall, the tongue is a versatile organ with multiple functions, including taste, speech, and digestion. Taste buds. Taste buds are specialized structures located on the tongue, as well as other parts of the mouth and throat, that are responsible for detecting different tastes. Some key facts about taste buds are: 1. Taste buds are grouped into papillae, which are small bumps on the tongue that can be seen with the naked eye. 2. Each taste bud contains many sensory cells called taste receptors, which are responsible for detecting different tastes such as sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. 3. The taste receptors are activated when chemicals from food or drink stimulate them, sending signals to the brain to create the perception of taste. 4. Taste buds can be influenced by a variety of factors, such as age, genetics, medications, and smoking, among others. 5. Taste buds can regenerate over time, with old taste receptors being replaced by new ones every 1-2 weeks. Overall, taste buds play an important role in our enjoyment and perception of food, and their detection of different tastes is crucial for our survival and health. Description of taste of the human tongue. The human tongue is capable of detecting 5 primary tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. These tastes are perceived through taste receptors located in taste buds on the tongue and other parts of the mouth. Sweet taste is often described as pleasant and satisfying, and it is associated with foods that are high in sugar or other sweeteners, such as fruit, candy, and desserts. Sour taste is characterized by a tangy, acidic flavor that can be found in citrus fruits, vinegar, and other acidic foods. It is usually perceived as slightly unpleasant or sour. Salty taste is associated with foods that contain high levels of salt, such as potato chips, pretzels, and salted nuts. It is usually described as savory and sometimes slightly bitter. Bitter taste is often associated with unpleasant sensations and is found in foods such as coffee, dark chocolate, and some vegetables. It is generally regarded as an acquired taste that some people may find unappealing. Umami taste, also known as savory taste, is associated with foods high in glutamate, such as meat, soy sauce, and mushrooms. It is usually perceived as a pleasant, full-bodied flavor that enhances the overall taste of the food. Overall, the human tongue is capable of detecting a wide range of tastes, each of which is associated with different types of foods and may produce different reactions in different people. The human nose. The human nose is a complex organ responsible for our sense of smell, and several key features help it perform this vital function. 1. The nasal cavity is lined with specialized cells called olfactory receptors, which can detect thousands of different odor molecules in the air. 2. The sense of smell is closely linked to memory and emotion, so the human nose plays an important role in our experiences and perceptions of the world around us. 3. The nose also serves as a filter, trapping and removing large particles and other impurities from the air before it reaches the lungs. 4. The structure of the human nose includes nasal passages, sinus cavities, and the nasal septum, all of which work together to collect and process the air we breathe. 5. The sense of smell can also be affected by a variety of factors, such as age, medications, and exposure to pollutants or irritants. Overall, the human nose is a complex and important organ that plays a central role in our ability to detect and interpret odors, as well as in our overall health and well-being. The mammalian skin. The mammalian skin is the outermost tissue layer of the body that covers and protects the internal organs, bones, and muscles. It is a complex organ that performs a wide range of functions, including 1. Protection. The skin acts as a barrier against physical, chemical, and biological agents, protecting the body from injury and infection. 2. Sensation. The skin contains sensory receptors that allow us to feel touch, pressure, heat, cold, and pain. 3. Thermoregulation. The skin helps regulate the body's temperature through sweating, blood flow, and changes in skin color. 4. Vitamin D synthesis. The skin produces vitamin D when exposed to sunlight, which is essential for bone health and other bodily functions. 5. Storage and excretion. The skin stores water and lipids, and excretes waste products through sweat glands. The mammalian skin is composed of 3 main layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. Each layer plays a unique role in the skin's overall function, with the epidermis serving as the protective outer layer, the dermis providing structural support and sensory function, and the hypodermis storing fat and providing insulation. Overall, the mammalian skin is a complex and vital organ that performs a wide range of functions essential for life and overall health. Transverse section of a mammalian skin. A transverse section of a mammalian skin typically includes the following layers. 1. Epidermis, the outermost layer of the skin composed primarily of keratinocytes. It contains no blood vessels and serves as the main barrier between the body and the external environment. 2. Dermis, a thick layer of connective tissue containing fibroblasts, blood vessels, nerves, and specialized cells such as hair follicles, sweat glands, and sebaceous glands. 3. Hypodermis, also called subcutaneous tissue, a layer of adipose fat, tissue that lies beneath the dermis and provides insulation, cushioning, and energy storage. The layers of the skin found in a transverse section of a mammalian skin have different structural features and functions that allow them to work together in maintaining the health and integrity of the skin as a whole. Skin receptor cells. Skin receptor cells are specialized cells located in the skin that are responsible for detecting and responding to different types of sensory stimuli. There are several different types of skin receptor cells, including 1. Merkel cells. These are specialized cells located in the epidermis that play a key role in tactile sensation. They are most densely located in the fingertips, palms, and soles of the feet. 2. Meissner's corpuscles. These are sensory receptors located in the dermal papillae of the skin. They are most concentrated in areas that are sensitive to touch, such as the fingertips and lips. 3. Pacinian corpuscles. These are pressure-sensitive cells located deep in the skin, in the hypodermis. They detect changes in pressure and vibration. 4. Ruffini endings. These are sensory cells located in the dermis that respond to skin stretch. 5. Free nerve endings. These are found throughout the skin and respond to a wide range of stimuli, including temperature, pain, and pressure. Together, these receptor cells play a critical role in our sense of touch, allowing us to detect and respond to various sensory stimuli in our environment. They can also provide important information about pain, temperature, and pressure, and help us to maintain our balance and coordination. Revision questions. 1. State the functions of the following parts of mammalian eye. A. Choroid. B. Optical nerve. C. Conjunctiva. A. The functions of the choroid in a mammalian eye are: to supply oxygen and nutrients to the retina, to absorb scattered light and prevent reflection within the eye, to regulate the amount of light entering the eye through the iris. B. The function of the optic nerve in a mammalian eye is to transmit visual information from the retina to the brain. C. The conjunctiva is a thin membrane that covers the front of the sclera and the inside of the eyelids. Its functions include: to protect the eye from foreign particles, bacteria or infection, to produce lubricating mucus to prevent the surface of the eye from drying out. 2. Outline the adaptations of the human outer ear to its function. The human outer ear has several adaptations that enable it to carry out its function of collecting and directing sound waves into the ear canal, including: 1. Pinna. The outer ear has a funnel-shaped structure called the pinna, which helps to collect sound waves from the environment and direct them into the ear canal. The shape of the pinna and its surface features aid in sound localization and amplification. 2. Ear canal. The ear canal is a narrow, curved tube that extends from the pinna to the eardrum. Its shape and length are designed to help amplify certain frequencies of sound waves and to filter out others. 3. Wax glands. The outer ear has small glands that secrete earwax, which helps to protect the ear canal from dust, dirt and bacteria. Earwax also lubricates the ear canal and helps to prevent the eardrum from drying out. 4. Hair cells. The inner lining of the ear canal contains tiny hair cells that are sensitive to sound vibrations. These cells help to convert sound waves into electrical signals, which are then transmitted to the brain. Overall, these adaptations of the human outer ear help to enhance the sensitivity, range, and directional hearing capabilities of the ear, and protect it from damage or infection. 3. Name the nerve fiber that transmit impulses from: A. The eye to the brain. B. The ear to the brain. C. The nose to the brain. A. The nerve fiber that transmits impulses from the eye to the brain is the optic nerve, also called cranial nerve 2. B. The nerve fiber that transmits impulses from the ear to the brain is the auditory nerve, also called the cochlear nerve or cranial nerve 8. C. The nerve fibers that transmit impulses from the nose to the brain are the olfactory nerves, also called cranial nerve I. 4. Briefly describe how the smell is detected. Smell is detected by a special group of sensory cells called olfactory receptor neurons, ORNs, which are located in the lining of the nasal cavity. When an odorant molecule enters the nose and comes into contact with the olfactory epithelium, it binds to specific receptors on the cilia, hair-like projections, of the ORNs, triggering a chemical reaction that generates an electrical signal. These signals are then transmitted to the olfactory bulb, which is a structure located at the base of the brain. The olfactory bulb processes and filters the signals from the ORNs, and then sends them to the olfactory cortex and other parts of the brain involved in higher-level processing of smells, emotion, and memory. The human nose can detect thousands of different odorants, each of which activates a unique combination of receptors on the ORNs. This complex code of receptor activation allows the brain to distinguish between different smells and to identify familiar and unfamiliar odors. 5. Name the various receptor cells in the human skin. There are several types of sensory receptor cells in the human skin that respond to different stimuli, including: 1. Meissner's corpuscles. These are specialized nerve endings found in the skin of the fingertips, palms, and soles of the feet that are sensitive to touch and pressure. 2. Merkel cells. These are specialized cells found in the skin's epidermis that are sensitive to light, touch, and pressure. 3. Ruffini endings. These are nerve endings located in the skin that respond to skin stretch and pressure. 4. Pacinian corpuscles. These are large, onion-shaped structures found in the subcutaneous tissue of the skin that respond to deep pressure and vibration. 5. Free nerve endings. These are the most common type of sensory receptor in the skin, and they are sensitive to a wide range of stimuli, including temperature, pressure, and pain. Overall, the various types of sensory receptor cells in the skin work together to detect and respond to different types of stimuli, allowing us to experience touch, pressure, heat, cold, and pain. 6. How are the following parts of the eye adapted to their function? A retina. B. Iris. C. Choroid. D. Cornea. E. Lens. A retina. The retina is the innermost layer of the eye where light is detected and converted into electrical signals that are transmitted to the brain. It is adapted to its function in several ways, including the presence of specialized cells called photoreceptors, rods and cones, that are able to convert light into electrical signals, and the high density of blood vessels that supply oxygen and nutrients to the cells. B. Iris. The iris is the colored part of the eye that controls the amount of light entering the eye by adjusting the size of the pupil. It is adapted to its function by containing smooth muscle fibers that can constrict or dilate the pupil in response to changing light conditions. C. Choroid. The choroid is a layer of tissue that lies between the retina and the sclera, the white part of the eye. It is adapted to its function by containing a high density of blood vessels that supply oxygen and nutrients to the retina, as well as pigment cells that help absorb excess light and prevent reflection. D. Cornea. The cornea is the transparent outermost layer of the eye that helps to focus light onto the retina. It is adapted to its function by being highly curved and having a smooth, uniform surface that helps to refract, bend, light, as well as containing no blood vessels, which would interfere with its transparency. E. Lens. The lens is a clear, flexible structure located behind the iris that helps to focus light onto the retina. It is adapted to its function by being able to change shape, become more or less curved in response to the distance of an object from the eye, and by being highly refractive, meaning it can bend and focus light to a fine point.